boys and girls. I'm Grandma Books, and thank you for coming to another science fun show. We're going to have a lot of experiments today that I think you're going to love. Today we're going to talk about liquids. Now, liquids and gases are a little different because, gases take up the whole size of wherever you have them. This whole house is filled with air. And waters, they don't fill up the whole container unless you fill it up. Like, I've got water in this bottle, and it just takes the shape of the container, but it won't fill it up because it doesn't expand to fill up the whole space. So all around your house you've got liquids. You've got a lot of liquids in your kitchen. If you look in your refrigerator, I bet you have all kinds of liquids in there. And they come in all different colors and tastes and smells. And I bet you have a lot of liquids that we call acids in your house. If you have orange juice, or if you have lemonade, or if you have Coca-Cola, those are all acids. And you also, acids are in your car. You have acid in your battery, and that's very strong. Acids are sort of strong, and they have sort of strong taste. Think about lemonade. Would you drink lemonade without any sugar in it? No, I don't think so. It's just too strong. There are other strong acids like vinegar. Your mom probably uses vinegar around the house. In fact, she might clean with vinegar, and if you smell it, you wouldn't want to drink it. So acids are an important liquid. We have lots of them. And last time I told you about why you have to drink milk, why you want to drink milk for breakfast and lunch and have yogurt and all kinds of things, because you need calcium for your bones. And I showed you, I had a regular chicken bone. This is a little chicken, and it had a drumstick. I ate the drumstick, and then I cleaned off the bone, and then I soaked it in a liquid for a week. Now this bone I soaked in water, and you can tell it didn't affect the bone because we drink water all the time. But look at this bone. I put this bone in an acid. I put it in vinegar because that's an acid that we have around the house. And look what happened to it. It dissolved all of the calcium in the bone. And you need calcium to have strong bones. We have to have calcium. And now look at this bone. It's all icky, and it bends, and it'll break. It's just an icky thing. Coca-Cola is also an acid. They put 10 spoons of sugar in this can to make it sweet. It's just like lemonade. Coca-Cola without sugar, you couldn't drink it because it's a strong acid. So I took another leg's drumstick and I put it in Coca-Cola for a week, and you can see it turned it all black. I wonder what Coca-Cola would do to my stomach. And it made it a little brittle, and it bent a little bit, but not as bad as the vinegar. Well, that makes sense because vinegar is really strong. Boys and girls, I told you to look around and look at all of the liquids that you have in your house, especially in your kitchen. There's lots in your refrigerator, I bet. I'll bet you have some hidden liquids in your refrigerator, things that don't look like liquid if you open the door and look at them. What about eggs? Are eggs liquid on the inside? Of course, because they've got that runny yellow yolk and that slimy stuff that turns white until you cook it. Well, eggs are interesting in that they're liquid until you cook them, and then they turn solid. At Easter time when you cook Easter eggs and we boil them so that they're hard, and then we color them all different colors and have pretty Easter eggs. Well, suppose your mom cooks some eggs and then she forgets which ones she cooked and which ones she didn't. This is a secret you can tell your mom, and she will not know that you know this. So I've cooked this egg and I put an H on it for hard boiled, so it's solid all over. This is a regular egg, and this is liquid inside. So this is what happens. You show your mom, you say, Mom, I can tell whether you cooked your egg or not. So because there's liquid in there, I'm going to spin it, and you know what it's going to do. Think about it. It's got liquid inside. What's it going to do? You spin it, and you try to stop it, and it just keeps spinning because that liquid is sloshing around inside. Now look what you do if you've got an egg that your mom cooked. You spin that, and you stop it, and it just stops. Liquids have a characteristic which we call density. And it's how much they weigh for the size that you're measuring. So, and you know that liquids weigh a lot more than air does, or most gases. And liquids have you can change the density of liquid. So I've added some salt to some plain water that I got in my sink, and I've made salt water. And I don't know if you've ever been to the ocean and gone swimming, but if you do, the ocean water is heavier than water in a lake or a river, and you can float. It's easier to float because the water is heavier. And I'm going to show you how this. So I've taken a lime and I put it down in a glass of water, and you see it just sinks right to the bottom because it's fairly heavy, and the water is not that heavy. Now I've added salt to this water, and I'm going to take another lime. It's even bigger, so you know I'm not cheating, and I'm going to try to get it to sink, and let's see what it does. It floats, it bobs back up, and that's what you do if you go to the ocean and go swimming, because this water is heavier because I added salt to the water and I made it heavier, and so things will float in it, and that's really density. And it's important because different liquids have different densities and we can measure it. So this is probably a trick you can play on your mom. Say, Mom, can I float this lime or lemon or even grapes, anything like that? Can I get float in water? And you put it in and it'll sink. And then you take and put some salt in the water and then it'll float. And that'll surprise your mom because she might not know that the salt water is heavier than the regular water. You know, boys and girls, that if we freeze water, we get ice. So I've got an ice cube here. And I'm going to tell you something. Where we live, we don't get ice on the roads. So we don't have a problem with driving down the road in the wintertime. But if you live someplace where it's really cold, the roads get covered with ice. And what do people do in order to keep accidents from happening is they put ice on the, they put salt on the road, and the salt melts the ice. And that's because salt water freezes at a much lower temperature than regular water. So that's the way they keep the ice off of the roads. Dad, can you pick up this ice cube with this string without touching it? You can't touch the ice cube with your hands. You can't pick it up, but just pick it up. Can you do that? Can you figure out a way to do that? And your dad will probably say no. So you take this string and you wet it. Don't let your dad see that. You wet it and you put the wet string down on top of the ice cube, and then you just sprinkle some salt on there, because what the salt's going to do, it's going to melt the ice cube a little bit on top, because that's how they melt the ice on the roads. And then you wait about a minute, and then say, Dad, this is all you have to do. And you lift up the ice cube with this wet string with just a little salt on it, because the salt makes the ice cube melt a little bit. And then when you put the string on top of it, the ice cube then sort of freezes back because it's cold. And when it does, it freezes the string to the ice cube. Isn't that an amazing trick? I think you're going to love playing this trick. And look, you can hold it for a long time. You can, if you have a big ice cube, you can even swing it around and have a lot of fun with that. Now, boys and girls, here's a magic trick that you could play on some of your friends. Remember I told you that there's no such thing as magic, it's just science. So you take a penny and you put it down on top of the counter and you say to your friend, can you see that penny? And they'll say, of course. And you say, okay, can you still see it looking at the side? And they'll say, yes, they can still see the penny. Of course, you don't let them look straight down, because of course you can see it that way. Say, can you see the penny? And then you say, okay, I'm going to make this penny disappear. I'm not going to touch the penny, and it's going to disappear. And then you fill up the glass with water. And as you do, if you look at it from the side, the penny disappears. Doesn't it disappear? And your friends will say, what is that? Now, it's still there if you look straight down, so don't let them look straight down. Make them look at the side. We'll talk about this when we do light experiments, but I'll give you a hint. The water is different than air. And look at this straw when I put it in the water. Does it look different? Can you see a difference? You could probably figure out what happened to the penny. Well, of course, the penny's still there, but you can't see it because the light going through the water is different than the light going through the air. Isn't that a great trick? That's magic. Just science. So you know, boys and girls, liquids have another characteristic which we call surface tension. I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but if you can fill up a glass with water and you could just keep pouring it slowly and the water will go up above the top of the glass, it's really funny looking. Look at that sometime. And what surface tension is that the water, unlike a lot of liquids, not all liquids do this, but water, it wants to hold together. It's almost like glue. It's sticky. It sticks to itself and it doesn't want to move. And for instance, this is a good trick you can play on your mom. Say, Mom, I'm going to fill up a bag with water. And do you think I can stick toothpicks in this bag without the water squirting out? And your mom was probably going to say, no, all the water's going to come out. Now, it has to be a really sharp toothpick or even a sharp pencil. You can do this with a sharp pencil. And this is what you do. Because of surface tension, the water is going to stick together and not want to leak. So here's what you do. Say, Mom, abracadabra, I'm magic. And you just stick these toothpicks in. And look, the water's not squirting out. They have to be really sharp. Isn't that amazing? That's an amazing trick. Your mom is going to be surprised. And all it is that the water wants to stick to itself because of surface tension, and it doesn't squirt out. It doesn't even leak. Look, there's not even any, look, it's completely dry. Boys and girls, the thing I love about science is it explains everything around our world. Did you ever look outside at a tree and wonder, how does the water get all the way up to the leaves on the top of the tree? I've got palm trees outside of my house that are probably 80 feet high. How does the water get up there? And if the water didn't get up to the top, the leaves would die. Well, this is an experiment that shows that, and part of it is surface tension. So I went to my neighbor's house and got some beautiful white roses. I said, please and thank you. And this one I've had overnight in just plain water. This one, I took some food coloring. You know, sometimes your mom will decorate a cake and she has these different colors. I put some food coloring in the water. That's all it is food coloring. But look, the red dye is coming up into the rose. And that proves that the water down here is going all the way up this stem and getting into the flower at the top. And that's how surface tension, the water when it sticks to itself, as it pulls itself up, that's how you get water up to the top of the palm trees. Now, boys and girls, you know lots of things will dissolve in water. Salt, sugar. What about pepper? Do you think pepper is going to dissolve in water? Think about that. No, the pepper just sits up on top. And the reason it can sit up on top and not sink to the bottom, because this is a solid, is surface tension. The water is holding itself together and it just doesn't let the pepper sink down. So this is a good trick you can play on your mom. Say, Mom, do you think the pepper will dissolve in water? And she'll say, no. And then you say, Mom, do you think I can make this pepper all run around? And she'll say, no. And so you stick your finger in and the pepper doesn't do anything. It just stays there. Then you take some dishwashing soap or hand soap and you put a little piece on your finger and you stick your finger in now. And look what happens to this pepper. Look at that. I'm making the pepper run away. And the reason is that soap, or detergent, makes the surface tension change in the water, and all of a sudden now I can move everything around. Isn't that great? So boys and girls, I hope you enjoyed the fun experiments that we did today. Next time we're going to talk about solids, and solids can be sort of boring, like they just sort of sit there, they don't really do anything. We can move them, but they just don't do much. But some solids are fun, so I've got some marshmallows and we're going to play some fun tricks with marshmallows. See you next time.